The Uber ride-sharing service has become a phenomenon, changing the way people get around and creating new part-time employment opportunities for drivers. There's also some controversy about how it impacts established taxi and car service businesses. Cathy Zhou, who oversees Uber's operations in the Massachusetts region, came in to tell us about the company's impact locally and more.
Uber, we're a technology company, and our goal is actually to make transportation as reliable as running water for everyone, everywhere. So as you mentioned, we have a mobile app, and riders are able to open up that app and push a button and request a ride, and a car will come to them, and within minutes they'll be able to get in a car and go wherever it is that they need to go. The entire experience is cashless, so what that means is that when riders download the app, they sign up with their credit card information, and so there's no cash that's exchanged on the platform, and that's really important both from a convenience perspective and also a safety perspective. So our goal is to make sure that riders can have that magical experience and really push a button and get wherever it is that they need to go. On the other side of that is the incredible economic opportunity that's being generated through this service, because drivers are signing up to drive with Uber. So right here in Western Massachusetts, we actually have over 1,000 drivers that have signed up and are using Uber as a way to earn additional income. So these are residents who live right here in Massachusetts who are signing up to drive. They're able to drive with their own vehicles. They earn money flexibly whenever it is that they want on their own schedules.
There have been some problems, and let's be fair, there have been problems through the years with car service drivers, with cab drivers as well, but riders in a few cases have been attacked by Uber drivers. Incident in Michigan with a driver apparently carrying out random shootings while picking up, transporting Uber fares. These things happen, but if we call Uber, how do we know, what assurance do we have that someone safe is coming to pick us up?
Yeah, so we obviously take incidents very seriously, and as a technology company, we're really committed to using our technology to ensuring and really enhancing the safety both before, during, and after a trip. And what that looks like is before a trip, riders are actually given a photo in the app of the driver that's coming to pick them up, along with the driver's name. They receive the name, the license plate, the vehicle make and model, and they're also able to contact the driver through an anonymous phone number so that they can figure out where they want to get picked up if they want to. In addition to that, the fact that riders are able to request inside and they don't have to wait outside and figure out how to hail a ride, for example, that also adds to the safety of the entire system. The second piece of that is really thinking about during the trip. So during the trip, every single trip that happens on Uber is tracked via GPS. That means that riders can have the peace of mind of knowing that there is a data record, and what it also means is that we're able to provide great features like our Share Our ETA feature, which is share my estimated time of arrival. So that means that as I'm taking a trip in Uber, I can actually send a live feed of my trip to a friend or family member so they can follow along, see where I'm going, and see when I'm going to be arriving.
I don't have to tell you that taxi cab companies, car services, folks who've been around and established in the individual personal transportation business, certainly protesting what Uber and groups like Lyft are trying to do. They say you compete unfairly against them, you can undercut their costs, that they are the businesses of brick and mortar, if you will. It's the same argument we've heard about the internet and internet sales. But what do you say in response to that?
Yeah, so the way we think about it at Uber is that more competition is a good thing because it means more economic opportunities for driver partners who are looking for a way to earn additional income for themselves and their families, and it means more safe, reliable transportation options for riders. One of the things that's really interesting is when you think about Uber's growth in smaller towns, like we see in Western Massachusetts, like a Amherst, or even slightly bigger towns like a Springfield, there are oftentimes still really limited transportation options available. Public transportation can be limited, and other private forms of transportation are more limited as well. And this increasing amount of choice is a really good thing. And we see that there's a really incredible response from smaller towns. When Uber first started, we started in sort of these larger metropolitan cities. So some of our earlier cities were New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Boston. And we've since then really expanded. And now in, I think, over 75%, so over 3/4 of the U.S., the population lives in a county where they can access Uber. And what that means is that people are really able to get around town more easily. They're able to experience their communities and their neighborhoods more.
The Massachusetts legislature is looking at legislation placing some kind of controls, regulations on ride services. What are you at Uber particularly concerned about happening at the state level that will make it difficult, if not impossible, for you to do what you do to grow the way you hope?
Yeah, so, as you mentioned, the legislature has been looking at this issue, and we're really grateful that they've taken the time to consider what's a really complex issue, and we're really looking forward to continuing the conversation with the Senate, which is now taking up this issue and really taking a lead on this issue in the spring. Our focus is really making sure that we can have a really consistent statewide regulatory framework versus, a patchwork of local regs, because the nature of ride sharing is such that people are traveling in between towns and cities all across Massachusetts. So a consistent statewide regulatory framework is really important. And then we also want to make sure that the regs that are in place really support innovation and make sure that Massachusetts is a fertile ground for ride sharing to continue growing. And this isn't even just about Uber, certainly. It's about, the future ride sharing companies that may be starting here. And we're already seeing more of those.
Well, Cathy Zhou, thanks for coming in, sharing, and telling us the Uber story. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me.